qualifier is coming in the next 2.5 weeks. I think in the next week or two, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm just going to be thinking about the rally, the car, just dreaming about it the whole time. My daughter Camila, who's 6 years old, is riding today for the second time in a race. My other children, who are a little bit younger than Camila, haven't started racing, so we're doing one at a time, yeah, all this first. When I was a child, my dad used to drive rally, so I've been following rally all that time, and then my husband started rallying as well, so I've been following this until eventually Leila sat in the rally car in 2000. Hopefully we'll keep praying and hoping that she'll come back, because she was good competition. Rally as a sport is really expensive, so having a sponsor by your side allows you to do more than if you are getting money from your own pocket. You don't have spares and things like that. So having a sponsor allows you to be able to rally better, to have better results. Sponsorship is a must.
Welcome to our Motorsport show here on WBS TV. Time check is we have 45 minutes past the top of the hour, and our great time is always 2:30 to 3:30 p.m. It's always here. It all starts here, and then others follow. It's WBS TV, where we have a lot of information and entertainment regarding our own very lovely sport, that's motorsport. And actually today we are having a number of items to talk about today, including the Uganda Motorsport. Actually, it's the Nomi White National Motocross Championship that is going to be underway tomorrow at Uganda Motorsport Arena, Busika. And actually I have a number of people to talk about the event, and then we shall go talk about the NRC. Actually, it's the last round of the NRC that is standing on the way. That's the Oil Libya Mountain Elgon Rally. That will be at the climax, or actually at the end of this month, in areas of Bokedia, Mbale, and then a bit of Soloti. Well, in studio today, I have on my exact left is Leila Blick. Leila, you're welcome to the studios. And then extreme left is Joseph Mangala. Is actually the FMU Vice President in motorcycling. And actually, when I talk about motorcycling, you just all know what it's all about. Intermingle with Joseph, and he's going to give us a light of what's up to tomorrow, and what are the rules of the game, what rules to befall into tomorrow's game. And then Leila, actually we are lucky. We are having Leila for the first time in this show, and she's going to enlighten us through her career into motor. We've seen her in motocross, and same way into the cockpit racing as in a lady driver. Leila has been on the running block for some good time, though she was shadowed down by Super Lady Susan Mwange, but then she wasn't active by those times when Super Lady was in the shine. And she happens to be back on the block, and Colin speaking, she's leading the two-wheel drive championship, and she's almost sealing it in this last event, the Elgon Oil Libya Rally. And we hope, I won't speak it all for Leila. This program is probably sponsored by FMU together with the world body FIA. Back to you, Leila. Give us a little bit of who Leila Mayanja is, and then we'll probably get to the public which is viewing you outside there. We'll get to feel who the lady is and who is the Iron Lady now cruising Iranex.
Yeah, Leila originally Irene Blick. So this was just a deal. I had to go into motorsport, I think, just because of the Blick name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm a mother of 3, and I think all of us are now into motorsport. My husband drives. Oma Mayanja is a driver. My kids are also dabbling a little bit in the motorbikes, although we haven't been very, very serious, but we are planning to come in very strongly in the next year.
Well, Leila, you've spoken about the Blick name, and the Blick have a motto or a password to the family. If you're not, if you're a little bit clean, would you give the public, the Blicks always have a password, actually it's a motto, where they say if you can't execute, then never go for it. How far true is that, and then how far is it now you're taking on the footsteps of the legendary late Paddy Blick, who is actually going to be remembered at tomorrow's event after passing away for the past 10 years, and he's a man who has who led the Blick to the race of the sport, that's both motor rolling and then motocross. So give us a hint. Why such a kind of a motto, cutting across with the Blicks families?
As you can see, I mean, if you can't do it, why try to do it?
Really?
And with motorsport, it's really expensive. So if you go for it, really go for it and do it well. The motto is we have to do well. We have to do well. I want
don't do it halfway.
Yeah, I want everybody to know who Leila is.
Oh, wow.
So, and as you said, Susan got there before I did.
You did, yeah.
Got there before I did. And this year I thought, let me come and try to challenge her, but maybe she hasn't been able.
Oh, sure.
So I'm a bit disappointed in that. But yeah, I came very prepared to take on Susan, to take on the main. Yeah. So
looking at, actually you've had Joseph have a smile on his face when you talk about making a mission complete. Joseph, you seem to be a double person. It's actually you're a father or a parent to some riders. That's Esther Mangala and then Joshua Mangala. Yourself, you ride in the elderly class and then come also on the enduro races. I realized hit of something where it's a legendary flow. The late Blick family, actually the Blick senior is, we anticipate Blick senior will be there at the arena, and actually WBS will have a time off to have an interaction, an interactive show with the Blick, the legendary Blick, with the brother to the late Paddy Blick. How do you manage to flick into the legendary families like the Blicks, and here comes Joshua Mangala and his team?
Thank you very much for that. I believe the zero is a start.
You can give us an introduction, probably. So, it will be like a little bit.
Yeah, okay. I'm Joseph Mangala. I'm the Deputy Vice President in charge of the motorcycling discipline at the Federation of Motorsport Clubs in Uganda. Yeah, as I was saying, there's always a start for something. The way Paddy Blick started it 10 years ago is the same way I would like it to be, say, 10 years from now, that Joseph Mangala started it in the Mangala family.
Sure.
And I make sure that all my children and my grandchildren will have to bear the name Mangala, so it has to be a name which is sounding good in the sport and even in the social, at least for the good of humankind.
How do you find it? Leila highlighted the point of being strong in the pocket. Would it be a disservice if I asked you that, how do you afford you guys to get your kids racing? Because I will be one parents out there who will be admiring to see their kids race, because this has been an escalating sport that in the past 2-3 years back we are seeing another breed coming up. How have you guys managed to have a breed, Leila and then you? Because Leila does not sit in the cockpit or the rally cockpit alone, but she also finds time to care for the cameras and the other little boys racing on the track.
Yeah, true. Motorsport is very expensive, and especially if you have a motto like the Blick's motto that either execute it or what?
Leave it.
Yeah, so you find that at times, because of financials, you may go in it and do it at a mediocre.
Oh, why? Mediocre level?
I would say mediocre level. That's if you don't have the resources. But the good thing about motorcycling is that it's not as expensive, and normally if you can get the resources to buy the bike, the running costs maybe compared to motor rallying is a bit affordable. Though we normally have the help of friends, the help of relatives, the help
some
of
bit of few sponsors.
Yeah, at times when you're stuck, you pass around the bucket, and guys, whatever they drop in cannot. But on this note, I thank even the sponsorship. For example, the event we are having tomorrow, for which is the event manager, the sponsors are giving us some fuel. And you see, once some of those costs are sort of done away with, then you can manage.
Sure.
Motorcycling is
a little bit affordable than it will be in rally. Leila, seeing camera race at the racetrack, we've seen you guys parents go on tenterhooks, bonkenke.
Yes.
I see you guys, when it comes to Nowera, wife to Arthur Blick Jr., you see her racing around the circuit, seeing the boy fly on a jump. She's like crying out her heart. And I don't know, why do you always let your kids fly out when you're feeling uncomfortable letting them fly?
I have gotten used to the idea. Before I was a bit,
sure.
I was also like maybe worse than Noela.
Yeah.
Because I find bikes a little scary as compared
sure?
to the car. Yes, personally, because the car you're quite protected. Well, the bike you're out there, and if you fall, you really, you know, you really get down to the ground. So I was a bit, I think, worse than Noela is. But the children start demanding it.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. My cousin is riding. I also want to ride.
To do it,
yeah. Then they see mommy is always in the rally car and all that. So eventually you give in, and that is how we started slowly. And as I said, we haven't really put in a lot, too much, but we are getting there.
And talking about you preferably taking on motorsport than rally, we've known you raise your ranks, start with motocross. How did you skip the limelights of your auntie, Maggie Chigozi? This is one of the big country names we have in the nation. That's Maggie Chigozi, the mother to the popular singer, the man who hit. That's the man who gave us Naulira. So how did you miss up? Because your uncle Pade raced in motocross before he raised his gloves up for motorsport. How did you miss trying out motocross prior getting into the cockpit as a rally driver?
I had my other loves, my other sports that I was concentrating on, like hockey.
Actually, hockey.
Yes, and I had seen some of what Arthur had gone through, you know.
The brakes,
the brakes and what. So that kind of scared me. So personally, I don't think I can go and put myself out there.
Sure.
Yeah, but if somebody, like my child, is willing and this hasn't scared him, I don't see why I should stop him.
Oh,
so I'll do my best to support them and see how far they can go.
If I may ask a question straight to you, do you think you guys have come to an achievement to a level where the late Paddy Blick have you hit the levels of where the late Paddy Blick, because this is a man who once raced with the late president of this nation, Idi Amin Dada, and then at times I was told he gave in for the man, saying that there's no way I would beat my president to be announced the winner ahead of my president, and then there was a shortcut he did. Like say he lost track and then the president overshot him, he came up as the leader. So do you think you guys have tried